In mature males, most specimens grow up to about 3.4 m, 11 feet 2 in length, and weigh up to 360 kilograms, 790 pound, 7, while in females, the mature size is normally around 2.6 m, 8 feet 6 in, with a body weight up to 91 kilograms, 201 pound. 8, 9. In New Orleans Lake, Florida, adult males averaged 73.2 kilogram, 161 pound, in weight and 2.47 m, 8 feet 1 in length, while adult females averaged 55.1 kilograms, 121 pound, and measured 2.22 m, 7 feet 3 in. 48. In Lake Griffin State Park, Florida, adults weighed on average 57.9 kilograms, 128 pound. 49. Weight at sexual maturity per one study was stated as averaging 30 kilograms, 66 pound, while adult weight was claimed as 160 kilogram, 350 pound. 50. Relation to age. There is a common belief stated throughout reptilian literature that crocodilians, including the American alligator, exhibit indeterminate growth, meaning the animal continues to grow for the duration of its life. However, these claims are largely based on assumptions and observations of juvenile and young adult crocodilians, and recent studies are beginning to contradict this claim. For example, one long-term mark recapture study, 1979-2015, done at the Tom Yorkie Wildlife Center in South Carolina, found evidence to support patterns of determinate growth, with growth ceasing upon reaching a certain age, 43 years for males and 31 years for females. 51. Sexual dimorphism. While noticeable in very mature specimens, the sexual dimorphism in size of the American alligator is relatively modest among crocodilians. 52. For contrast, the sexual dimorphism of saltwater crocodiles is much more extreme, with mature males nearly twice as long as and at least 4 times as heavy as female saltwater crocodiles. 53. Given that female American alligators have relatively higher survival rates at an early age and a large percentage of given populations consists of immature or young breeding American alligators, relatively few large mature males of the expected mature length of 3.4 m, 11 feet 2 in, or more are typically seen. 54. Color. Dorsally, adult American alligators may be olive, brown, gray, or black. However, they are on average one of the most darkly colored modern crocodilians, although other alligatorid family members are also fairly dark, and can be reliably distinguished by color via their more blackish dorsal scales against crocodiles. 24. Meanwhile, their undersides are cream colored. 55. Some American alligators are missing or have an inhibited gene for melanin, which makes them albino. These American alligators are extremely rare and almost impossible to find in the wild. They could only survive in captivity, as they are very vulnerable to the sun and predators. 56. Jaws, teeth, and snout. American alligator showing teeth. American alligators have 74-80 teeth. 26. As they grow and develop, the morphology of their teeth and jaws change significantly. 57. Juveniles have small, needle-like teeth that become much more robust and narrow snouts that become broader as the individuals develop. 57. These morphological changes correspond to shifts in the American alligator's diets, from smaller prey items such as fish and insects to larger prey items such as turtles, birds, and other large vertebrates. 57. American alligators have broad snouts, especially in captive individuals. When the jaws are closed, the edges of the upper jaws cover the lower teeth, which fit into the jaw's hollows. Like the spectre-clad caiman, this species has a bony nasal ridge, though it is less prominent. 26. American alligators are often mistaken for a similar animal, the American crocodile. An easy characteristic to distinguish the two is the fourth tooth. Whenever an American alligator's mouth is closed, the fourth tooth is no longer visible. It is enclosed in a pocket in the upper jaw. Bite. The snout of an American alligator skull. Adult American alligators held the record as having the strongest laboratory measured bite of any living animal, measured at up to 13,172 N, 1,343.2 kgf, 2,961 lbf. This experiment had not been, at the time of the paper published, replicated in any other crocodilians, and the same laboratory was able to measure a greater bite force of 16,414 N, 1,673.8 kgf, 3,690 lbf, in saltwater crocodiles. Winking sad smiley 58, 59. Notwithstanding this very high biting force, the muscles supplying the American alligator's jaw are quite weak, and the jaws can be held closed by hand or tape when an American alligator is captured. No significant difference is noted between the bite forces of male and female American alligators of equal size. 57. Another study noted that as the American alligator increases in size, the force of its bite also increases. 60. Movement. High walk of an American alligator. X-ray video of a female American alligator showing contraction of the lungs while breathing when on land. An American alligator moves either by sprawling or walking, the latter involving the reptile lifting its belly off the ground. The sprawling of American alligators and other crocodilians is not similar to that of salamander-songed lizards, being similar to walking. Therefore, the two forms of land locomotion can be termed the low walk and the high walk. Unlike most other land vertebrates, American alligators increase their speed through the distal rather than proximal ends of their limbs. 61. In the water, American alligators swim like fish, moving their pelvic regions and tails from side to side. 62. During respiration, airflow is unidirectional, looping through the lungs during inhalation and exhalation. Winking sad smiley 63. The American alligator's abdominal muscles can alter the position of the lungs within the torso, thus shifting the center of buoyancy, which allows the American alligator to dive, rise, and roll within the water. 64. Distribution. American alligator, right, and American crocodile, left, at Mrazek Pond, Florida. American alligators, being native both to the Nearctic and Neotropical realms, are found in the wild in the southeastern United States, from the low country in South Carolina, south to Everglades National Park in Florida, and west to southeastern region of Texas. 65. They are found in parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Some of these locations appear to be relatively recent introductions, with often small but reproductive populations. 66. Louisiana has largest American alligator population of any U.S. state. In the future, possible American alligator populations may be found in areas of Mexico adjacent to the Texas border. 67. American alligators have been naturally expanding their range into Tennessee. 68. And have established a small population in the southwestern part of that state via inland waterways according to the state's wildlife agency. 69. They have been extirpated from Virginia, and occasional vagrants from North Carolina wander into the Great Dismal Swamp. 70. Conservation status. American alligators are currently listed as least concern by the IUCN Red List, even though from the 1800s to the mid-1900s, they were being hunted and poached by humans unsustainably. In 1987, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service pronounced the American alligator fully recovered. 71. a leucistic American alligator at Gatorland. Historically, hunting and habitat loss have severely affected American alligator populations throughout their range, and whether the species would survive weighs in doubt. In 1967, the American alligator was listed as an endangered species, under a law that was the precursor Endangered Species Act of 1973, since it was believed to be in danger of extinction throughout all or a significant portion of its range. 72. Both the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, USFS, and state wildlife agencies in the South contributed to the American alligator's recovery. Protection under the Endangered Species Act allowed the species to recuperate in many areas where it had been depleted. States began monitoring their American alligator populations to ensure that they would continue to grow. In 1987, the USFS removed the animal from the endangered species list, as it was considered to be fully recovered. The USFS still regulates the legal trade in American alligators and their products to protect still endangered crocodilians that may be passed off as American alligators during trafficking. 72. American alligators are listed under Appendix 2 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, meaning that international trade in the species, including parts and derivatives, is regulated. 3. Habitat. They inhabit swamps, streams, rivers, ponds, and lakes. A lone American alligator was spotted for over 10 years living in a river north of Atlanta, Georgia. 73. Females and juveniles are also found in Carolina bays and other seasonal wetlands. While they prefer fresh water, American alligators may sometimes wander into brackish water. 74. But are less tolerant of salt water than American crocodiles, as the salt glands on their tongues do not function. 75. One study of American alligators in north-central Florida found the males preferred open lake water during the spring, while females used both swampy and open water areas. During summer, males still preferred open water, while females remained in the swamps to construct their nests and lay their eggs. Both sexes may den underneath banks or clumps of trees during the winter. 48. In some areas of their range, American alligators are an unusual example of urban wildlife. Golf courses are often favored by the species due to an abundance of water and a frequent supply of prey animals such as fish and birds. 76. 77. Cold tolerance. American alligators are less vulnerable to cold than American crocodiles. Unlike an American crocodile, which will immediately succumb to the cold and drown in water at 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 degrees Celsius, or less, an American alligator can survive in such temperatures for some time without displaying any signs of discomfort. 78. This adaptiveness is thought to be why American alligators are widespread further north than the American crocodile. 78. In fact, the American alligator is found farther from the equator and is more equipped to handle cooler conditions than any other crocodilian. 79. When water begins to freeze, American alligators go into a period of brumation. They stick their snouts through the surface, which allows them to breathe above the ice. 74. And they can remain in this state for several days. 80. Ecology and behavior. Basking. An American alligator basks on the bank of a pond in Big Cypress National Preserve. American alligators primarily bask on shore, but also climb into and perch on tree limbs to bask if no shoreline is available. This is not often seen, since if disturbed, they quickly retreat back into the water by jumping from their perch. 81. Holes. American alligators modify wetland habitats, most dramatically in flat areas such as the Everglades, by constructing small ponds known as alligator holes. This behavior has qualified the American alligator to be considered a keystone species. Alligator holes retain water during the dry season and provide a refuge for aquatic organisms, Wicks survive the dry season by seeking refuge in alligator holes, a source of future populations. The construction of nests along the periphery of alligator holes, as well as a buildup of soils during the excavation process, provides drier areas for other reptiles to nest and a place for plants that are intolerant of inundation to colonize. Alligator holes are an oasis during the Everglades dry season, so are consequently important foraging sites for